happens when the city that never sleeps suddenly finds its hotel rooms half empty? On a Labor Day weekend, once a guaranteed sellout, Las Vegas saw occupancy plunge to just 76%, a sharp 7% drop from last year. Tourists are still flying in, but instead of awe, many describe their experience as underwhelming and overpriced. And here's the twist: hotels aren't just watching from the sidelines. From discounts for veterans to 2-for-1 experiences at the High Roller and Eiffel Tower, the Strip is quietly rolling out survival tactics. The question is, can these moves really turn the tide, or are they just band-aids on a deeper wound? Stick around, because what you'll hear next may surprise you. The discount war. Casinos turn to bargain hunting. It may sound strange, but the first sign that Las Vegas is in trouble isn't empty slot machines. It's the sudden flood of hotel discounts. For decades, the Strip thrived on an image of luxury excess, charging premium rates and stacking fees wherever possible. Yet in 2025, the narrative is shifting. MGM Resorts, Caesars, and other giants are now offering 20% off bookings, gift shop credits, and even discounted show tickets to lure hesitant travelers. These aren't symbolic gestures, they're acts of desperation. Why does this matter? In Las Vegas, hotel occupancy is the lifeblood of the local economy. When the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, LVCVA, reports a fall to 76% occupancy in peak summer, it's more than a statistic, it's a warning siren. That 7% drop translates into tens of thousands of empty rooms and millions in lost revenue. Multiply that across casinos, restaurants, and entertainment venues, and you see how one-week season snowballs into layoffs and shuttered businesses. Tourists interviewed recently were blunt. "It just doesn't seem that busy," one Wisconsin couple admitted. "We usually come for Labor Day, but it feels underwhelming this time." Their main complaint? Not just room rates, but everyday costs like bottled water and basic meals. No matter how many perks hotels layer on, if a guest feels nickel and dimed, they're less likely to return. The very reputation Vegas built, that you could live like a king for a weekend, is eroding. There's another layer. By dangling discounts, Vegas casinos risk training customers to wait for bargains. It's the same trap retail giants fell into during economic slowdowns. Once people know you'll slash prices, full rates become a hard sell. That's why the discount war is both a short-term survival tactic and a long-term gamble. Will it stabilize visitor numbers or undermine the Strip's brand of glamour? What makes this story even more intriguing is that hotels aren't stopping at price cuts. They're quietly reshaping the entire visitor experience. And, as we'll see in the next section, some of those strategies may surprise you even more than the discounts themselves. Reinventing the experience, freebies, perks, and the show must go on. If slashing room rates was the opening move, Vegas's second tactic is even more telling, turning the city into a bundle of perks. Imagine checking into your hotel and finding not just a keycard, but a voucher for the High Roller, discounted entry to the Eiffel Tower, or even show tickets bundled into your stay. It's no longer just about where you sleep, it's about sweetening the deal enough to keep you from booking that weekend in Phoenix, Miami, or even Reno. Why is this happening? Because the Strip has quietly lost its monopoly on entertainment. For years, Las Vegas could bank on its reputation as the only place where neon-lit spectacle met 24/7 indulgence. But in 2025, visitors are spoiled for choice. Cheaper resort cities in the Southwest, cruise lines offering all-inclusive packages, and even theme parks are siphoning away tourists who used to automatically choose Vegas. To compete, hotels now package experiences as part of the stay, an effort to revive that sense of value that once defined the city. But here's the catch. Many tourists still aren't impressed. Christina, a first-time visitor, said the incentives felt shallow. Her friend Debbie, a repeat guest, admitted, "It's just not enough to justify coming back." This reveals a dangerous truth. Vegas perks may look flashy on paper, but if the basics, like food and water, feel overpriced, the freebies lose their magic. After all, what's the point of saving $20 on a Ferris wheel ride if you just paid $9 for a bottle of water? On the business side, bundling perks is also costly. Those comped show tickets and discounted attractions eat into revenue streams that used to be dependable. For a city that thrives on volume, every discounted seat is a reminder of how thin margins have become. And there's a branding risk. When a luxury city starts giving things away, the illusion of exclusivity takes a hit. Still, the Strip knows it can't stand still. These experiments with freebies may be awkward, but they hint at a deeper realization. If Vegas is to survive, it must shift from being a place that charges for everything to one that makes visitors feel like they're winning again. And that leads us to the next, even more dramatic shift, because some hotels are moving beyond discounts and perks, testing strategies that could fundamentally reshape what a Las Vegas trip looks like. Cutting costs, changing service. The new face of Vegas hotels. Step inside a Vegas hotel today, and you might notice something odd. Fewer staff at the front desk, restaurants running with skeleton crews, and housekeeping that no longer shows up daily unless you request it. This isn't just bad luck, it's a deliberate strategy. With tourism falling, hotels are quietly shifting from service-driven operations to cost-cutting machines, hoping to protect profits even as room nights shrink. This change matters because Las Vegas built its empire on hospitality. Visitors didn't just come for cheap buffets and bright lights. They came because service felt larger than life. Dealers remembered your name. Housekeepers refreshed your room daily. Staff made you feel like royalty, even if you only paid $99 for a room. Strip away that service, and you risk stripping away the very soul of the Vegas experience. But from a business perspective, the cuts are unavoidable. Labor is expensive, and in 2025, wages are rising while occupancy is falling. A 7% drop in hotel occupancy may not sound catastrophic, but it translates to thousands of empty rooms. To survive, properties are experimenting with automation, self-check-in kiosks, mobile room keys, even robotic bartenders. For executives, the math is simple. Every staff position saved keeps margins alive. For guests, however, the trade-off is less magical. A city once known for warm, human energy now risks feeling cold and corporate. There's another side effect. Lower staffing can create bottlenecks. Tourists, already frustrated by high fees and overpriced meals, now face long waits for service. A Wisconsin couple interviewed on the Strip said they felt underwhelmed this year, noting that the city didn't seem as vibrant or welcoming as before. That sentiment spreads quickly. In the age, a viral video about bad service can undo millions in advertising overnight. Still, the strategy has logic. By automating and trimming, hotels are buying time to stabilize revenue and see if demand rebounds. But here's the irony. The very measures keeping the lights on may also be dimming the city's appeal. And while cost-cutting is a defensive play, the Strip isn't just retreating. It's also doubling down on something bigger. As we'll see in the next section, Las Vegas hotels are pivoting toward events and mega experiences, betting that spectacle, not discounts or service tweaks, will bring the crowds roaring back. Betting on spectacle, concerts, arenas, and the mega event strategy. If room discounts and freebies can't fill hotel towers, Las Vegas has one more card to play: sheer spectacle. In the past few years, the city has doubled down on mega events, concert residencies, professional sports, and billion-dollar arenas to draw visitors who might otherwise skip the Strip. The Sphere, Allegiant Stadium, and headline residencies from icons like Adele and U2 aren't just entertainment. They're lifelines for hotels desperate to keep foot traffic flowing. Why this shift? Because traditional tourism patterns are faltering. Hotel occupancy dropped to 76% in July, down 7% from the year before, a shocking figure for what should have been a peak season. Families who once came for cheap buffets now balk at $40 burgers and $9 bottles of water. Regulars who used to gamble loyally at MGM or Caesars are now trimming trips to once a year, or skipping altogether. To counter this, hotels are betting that the wow factor of major events will override the sticker shock. And to some extent, it's working. A sold-out NFL game or a global superstar's residency can pack tens of thousands of people into town, each one booking hotel rooms, dining at restaurants, and spending in casinos. For a weekend, it creates the illusion that Vegas is booming again. The danger, however, is sustainability. Events are episodic, not consistent. You can't build a stable tourism economy if your fortunes depend on whether Taylor Swift is on tour. There's also the cost factor. These mega projects come with billion-dollar price tags and risky debt financing. Hotels bank on long-term visitor surges to justify the investment, but if tourism continues to weaken, these arenas could become white elephants, massive, underutilized structures that weigh down the very companies they were meant to save. Guests, too, are starting to notice the imbalance. First-timers may be dazzled by the sphere, but repeat visitors increasingly say they miss the old Vegas, the one where every weekend felt like a spectacle without needing a $500 concert ticket. In short, the mega-event gamble could revive Las Vegas or accelerate its decline. And that's where things get really interesting, because some hotels are now looking beyond short-term tricks and toward reinventing loyalty itself. The Loyalty Reset: Reinventing rewards to keep you coming back. For decades, Las Vegas ran on loyalty. Players swiped their total rewards, or M Life cards, racked up points, and returned year after year to cash in on comped rooms, buffets, and show tickets. But when the Strip shifted toward hidden fees and nickel and diming, that loyalty began to crumble. Now, with tourism sliding, hotels are scrambling to rebuild the trust they lost, and loyalty programs are their chosen weapon. Caesars has launched aggressive promotions, dangling 20% discounts for guests who book early. MGM is layering in perks like holiday gift shop credits and veterans discounts. Some hotels are even experimenting with experience credits, allowing you to use points toward attractions like the High Roller or Eiffel Tower viewing deck. The message is clear. Vegas wants to be your first choice again, and they'll pay you, at least in points and perks, to keep coming back. But here's the problem. Loyalty isn't built on discounts alone. In interviews, repeat visitors openly questioned whether these programs are worth the hype. Christina, a first-time visitor, shrugged off the incentives, while her veteran travel buddy Debbie admitted they weren't enough to justify another trip. When regulars, people who once visited multiple times a year, start hesitating, that's a sign of deeper erosion. Economically, loyalty resets are risky. Points and perks cost money, and in a city where every percentage point of occupancy matters, hotels are walking a tightrope. Offer too little, and you don't move the needle. Offer too much, and you cannibalize profits. Worse, if guests feel like they're being bribed back instead of valued, the programs can cheapen the brand. Las Vegas has always thrived on the illusion of generosity. The house takes care of you. When perks start to feel like coupons, the magic breaks. Still, loyalty resets reveal something important. Vegas hotels understand that keeping customers is cheaper than constantly chasing new ones. They're betting that by refreshing loyalty schemes now, they can reignite old habits before they're lost forever. But there's one piece loyalty can't fix, and it may be the biggest barrier of all: the crushing weight of affordability and hidden costs. And that's exactly where we're headed next. The affordability crisis, when hidden fees drive tourists away. Ask any tourist what frustrates them most about Vegas in 2025, and the answer isn't the blackjack odds or the summer heat. It's the cost of everything. From $40 burgers to $9 bottles of water, visitors are fed up with the sticker shock. Add in resort fees, parking charges, and convenience surcharges, and suddenly that $150 a night room can feel closer to $300. For a city once known as the land of cheap thrills, this reversal is nothing short of catastrophic. The economic data backs up the frustration. Hotel occupancy, once near 90% during peak weekends, dropped to 76% this past July, down 7% year over year. That decline translates directly into lost revenue, not just for hotels, but for restaurants, nightclubs, and casinos that depend on a steady flow of tourists. When visitors sense they're being nickel and dimed at every turn, they're less likely to splurge at the tables, or to return at all. Psychologically, the affordability crisis is even more damaging. Vegas built its global brand on the idea that anyone could feel like a high roller for a weekend. You didn't have to be a millionaire. You just had to show up. Now, middle-class tourists from Wisconsin, Texas, or Ontario walk away saying they felt underwhelmed, overcharged, and unlikely to come back. That kind of word of mouth, amplified by TikTok and Instagram, can devastate a destination faster than any economic downturn. Hotels are trying to push back with discounts and perks, but the elephant in the room remains: core costs are too high. Free show tickets or 20% off a gift shop purchase don't erase the sting of overpriced basics. And here's the irony. In cutting service, as we saw earlier, while charging more, hotels risk creating the worst of both worlds: higher bills paired with lower satisfaction. For investors and executives, this affordability crisis raises an uncomfortable question. Has Vegas permanently priced out the very customers who once kept it alive? If the Strip is no longer accessible to the middle class, then the city's long-term tourism model could be broken. And that realization is pushing hotels into their boldest experiment yet: reinventing the way they market Las Vegas itself. Reinventing the brand, selling the illusion all over again. Las Vegas has always been more than a city. It's a brand, a promise that says, "Come here," and your ordinary life disappears. But what happens when that promise starts to feel hollow? When visitors complain of high prices, stripped-down service, and underwhelming experiences, the brand itself is in jeopardy. That's why hotels and the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, LVCVA, are launching a full-scale rebranding effort to resell the city, not just as Sin City, but as a place of curated experiences. Billboards along highways now shout about immersive packages rather than cheap buffets. Digital ads promise exclusive access to concerts, rooftop pools, and culinary tours. Even the discounts we've discussed aren't framed as bargains, but as special rewards for insiders. The marketing strategy is clear: reposition Vegas as aspirational, while hiding the desperation behind glossy language. This shift matters because branding isn't just cosmetic, it's economic survival. Studies show tourists often justify higher costs if they believe they're paying for something exclusive. By wrapping discounts in the language of luxury, hotels hope to rebuild the illusion that Vegas is still the world's premier playground. For example, instead of saying 20% off, Caesars pitches it as a limited VIP opportunity. MGM promotes gift shop credits as holiday experiences. It's the same discount, dressed in prestige. But there's a risk. Overbranding without substance can backfire. When tourists discover that the exclusive perk is really just a free bottle of water or a ticket to a half-empty show, the disillusionment deepens. Repeat visitors, those who know what Vegas used to feel like, are the hardest to convince. If they perceive the branding as smoke and mirrors, they're not only less likely to return but more likely to broadcast their disappointment online. Still, the reinvention push reveals how seriously Vegas hotels take the threat. They understand that fixing prices or perks alone won't save them. They need to restore the myth. Because Vegas without the illusion of glamour is just another overpriced desert city. And while marketing may polish the image, the real battle lies deeper, in the social fabric of who is actually coming to Las Vegas and who is quietly leaving. Demographic shifts. Who's still coming to Vegas, and who isn't? For decades, Las Vegas thrived on a predictable cycle. Baby boomers flocked for retirement weekends, Gen Xers came for bachelor parties, and Canadians escaped their winters to fill the Strip. But in 2025, that steady mix is cracking, and the demographic shifts tell a sobering story. The first sign? Repeat visitors are fading. Regulars from the Midwest, like the Wisconsin couple interviewed over Labor Day, openly admitted they were underwhelmed this year. They used to come multiple times annually. Now, even with hotel discounts and veterans perks, they're rethinking whether Vegas is worth it. When your most loyal customer base begins drifting, the warning lights are flashing. Next, the international lifeline is weakening. Canadians, once the Strip's largest foreign market, are visiting less, citing high costs, stricter border experiences, and better deals elsewhere. Add in a strong US dollar that makes every Vegas purchase feel even more expensive, and you get a steady decline in international spending power. In a city that once relied on foreigners to splurge, that's a major blow. Younger demographics present an even more complicated challenge. Gen Z and younger millennials aren't nearly as interested in gambling as their parents. Instead of slot machines, they're drawn to TikTok-worthy experiences, EDM festivals, and nightlife. Yet, when confronted with $9 bottled water and $55 resort fees, even they start looking elsewhere. Cheaper cities with nightlife, but without the gouging. A city built on gaming revenue now finds itself catering to an audience that spends less time on the casino floor and more time comparing prices online. And then there's the affordability divide. Wealthy elites can still enjoy the VIP tables and $500 concert seats, but the middle-class tourists who once gave Vegas its energy are being priced out. Without that broad base, the city risks becoming a playground only for the ultra-rich, a model that works for Monaco, but not for a city built on scale. These demographic shifts are more than statistics. They're a glimpse into the city's future. If Vegas doesn't adapt, it could slowly bleed relevance as younger generations and middle-class travelers vote with their wallets. Which brings us to the Strip's most pressing challenge of all, the looming question of identity. Is Vegas still for everyone, or has it stumbled into a full-blown identity crisis? The identity crisis. What is Las Vegas now? For nearly a century, Las Vegas had a clear identity. It was the city of reinvention, where the middle class could feel rich for a weekend, where neon lights promised freedom, and where every gamble, win or lose, was part of the fun. But in 2025, that identity is fractured, and the cracks are showing everywhere. Ask tourists today, and you'll hear the same refrain. Vegas doesn't feel like Vegas anymore. Instead of the thrill of a deal, they feel nickel and dimed by resort fees, overpriced meals, and hidden surcharges. Instead of warm service, they encounter automation and cutbacks. Instead of spontaneity, they find curated VIP experiences that cost more but deliver less. What was once the most democratic form of escape in America is now being reshaped into something narrower, pricier, and, some would argue, soulless. For hotels, this identity crisis is existential. Do they double down on exclusivity, positioning Las Vegas as an elite destination for the wealthy few? Or do they attempt to restore the middle-class magic, cutting costs and rebuilding loyalty at the risk of short-term profits? Right now, the Strip seems caught in the middle, throwing discounts at one end while charging premium rates at the other. The result is confusion, not clarity. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Vegas chooses wrong, it risks losing both sides: the wealthy, who can find exclusivity in Monaco or Dubai, and the middle class, who can find affordability in Miami, Nashville, or even cruise ships. The very question, "Who is Vegas for?" hangs like neon smoke over the skyline. Some industry insiders argue this identity crisis is temporary, just another reinvention in the city's long history. But others warn it's different this time, because the social contract is broken. When even loyal visitors openly say they don't see a reason to come back, no amount of rebranding can patch that easily. Las Vegas hotels are fighting back with discounts, perks, and mega events. But until they decide what the city really stands for, the Strip will remain caught between past glory and an uncertain future. So there you have it. Las Vegas hotels are throwing everything at the wall, from discounts to mega shows, to fight a tourism slump that's bigger than anyone expected. But the core question remains: who is Vegas really for now? Drop a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives.